All right, good evening. This is the November 26, 2012 Rhinebeck Town Board meeting. And we'll start with a pledge with Kristen Henderson from Girl Scout Troop 10078.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good evening. For announcements, Town Hall will be closed on Monday, December 24th, and that'll be, of course, Christmas Eve. The Town Board of Assessment Review is looking for new members, 2 new members. You can call Town Hall 876-3409 for that. This coming up weekend is, of course, a continuation of our Sinterklaas celebration. It began last weekend with the main events will continue this Saturday, December 1st, on East Market Street. The East Market Street will be closed for vehicle traffic from Route 9 to the exit of the municipal parking lot. That's right across from the Village Hall Fire Department. That'll be closed from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Just so you know, Saturday will be throughout the day from at least 10 o'clock till the end throughout the night. Will be loaded with all kinds of entertainment and festivals for Sinterklaas, and ultimately at 6 o'clock will be the Starlight Parade, which will come through town. It'll cross, I think, across from the from down by Garden Street through the middle of town and end up here across the street, across from Village Hall. So a lot of activity in town for everybody to come and celebrate. And I have my own gavel here today, a special gavel. It's a little light that lights up, and so one thing to do is to be ready and light your kids up. Like I'm going to light my kids up. This is a light that I got from Land of Oz, but it's good to, definitely for safety reasons, to bring something from somewhere so you can get any kind of thing that lights up. But please be safe and bring lights and have fun. But enjoy the day. There's a lot to do. It's a lot of good stuff. So nobody's from here from Sinterklaas, right, to talk about this? Okay. All right. So any questions? There's a website, I'm sure. I think it's on here somewhere. But does anybody know? SinterklaasHudsonValley.com. I don't want to give you the town clerk's number because he doesn't want to answer any of that, but
and don't forget about the Whale Watch Spaghetti Dinner.
That's part of it too. Where's that at? The Church of Messiah?
Church of Messiah.
What time is that at?
I think 5 or 6. I'm not sure.
5 or 6. So at the rectory at Church of Messiah Hall. That's just to help support our sixth graders for their
fifth graders.
Fifth, right? Yeah. For their trip. A lot to do. So just come to town and have fun. Saturday, all day and night. So the town of Rhinebeck continues this concert series on Saturday, December 8th here at Town Hall. It's at 7 p.m. This is a free concert series, so come here to Town Hall, 7 p.m. Saturday, December 8th, the week after Sinterklaas.
Who's playing?
We're just going crazy here in Town Hall.
Mr. Roper.
Mr. Roper will be here. Huh? That's good.
Not sure who Mr. Roper is, but Mr. Roper.
Great.
You can call Town Hall for that, for information. A reminder that the Town Clerk's Office has new public hours from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays, and from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're placing limits on public hours for the 2 mornings of the week to allow for the office to better keep up with the paperwork and long-term projects. This kind of is a concept that helps us to better serve the public so that our clerks can catch up with work that has been set behind due to the transition, and we're going to see how it works with the public. So it's a benefit for all of us, and we appreciate your cooperation. A reminder that there is no parking on public highways on midnights from midnight to 8 a.m. beginning November 15th, running through April 1st. That's for, of course, the winter season, so that the plows can clear the roadways and remove from snow and ice. Violators can be towed, and this has been a long-standing snow ordinance in the town. So be conscious of that. And anybody else have anything new? Okay. So we'll move on to some business, and we'll have just to approve the minutes from the prior meetings. One is the November 7th public budget hearing. We also have November 13th regular meeting and the November 15th special town board meeting. So I'll have a motion and a second to approve those 3 minutes.
Motion.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's so moved. We have a presentation tonight from Brian Miles of the Spain Agency on NYMER Town General Liability Insurance Proposal. And I guess we're ready for that, right? Yes. Okay. Anybody want to see my gavel?
It's going to throw us into a, yeah.
You can put this in your dashboard also and get through traffic pretty easily if you want to.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Should I just give a little introduction?
You want to do that?
We went through a bidding out of our town insurance this past year. We bid out our workman's compensation in June, July, and were able to save about 20%, about $17,000, and are now looking at our general liability and public officials. Brian Miles is with the Spain Agency. They represent NYMAR, the New York Municipal Insurance, and we've found that we'll see where our other quote comes in on the general liability, but if we can anticipate the same savings that we did in our workman's comp, it's a good thing for the town. We're looking at a significant savings. So Brian is here to make a presentation to take us through NYMAR's coverage, and also I've asked him to talk to us about our umbrella limits. We have really high umbrella limits, and we should consider that and look at if we're comfortable maybe having the same limits that other municipalities and even counties and cities have. So thanks, Brian.
I'm Brian Miles with the Spain Agency, and we represent the New York Municipal Insurance Reciprocal, Westchester, Putnam, and Dutchess counties. NYMER is a not-for-profit insurance company owned and operated by its municipal members. It was formed in 1993 as a vehicle to provide low-cost, high-quality insurance to municipalities in the state. Currently, it's endorsed and formed by the Association of Towns, Association of Counties, and the Conference of Mayors. And NYMER currently is the largest insurer of municipalities in New York State. They insure approximately 680 municipalities, towns, cities, and villages throughout the state, making them by far the largest insurer of municipalities. Like I said, NYMER started in 1993, and they steadily have grown to become a force in the marketplace. And we just took over the marketing territory on an exclusive basis with NYMER in Dutchess County last year. So we're starting to market accounts that haven't really been looked at before with NYMER, and we're glad to have the opportunity to quote the town of Rhinebeck earlier this year for the workers' comp and now for the liability. And what we've done is we've surveyed the town, we've matched or improved all your current coverages, and I think we've saved the town some money on your premiums. The one area that the NYMER program has a standard limit of liability, they offer all the property coverages, they offer general liability coverage, the auto coverages, your equipment, public officials liability, and the umbrella coverages. Currently, the town has a $15 million limit for umbrella coverages, $30 million annual aggregate for the umbrella. So you could have one $15 million claim or, and per occurrence, or you could have two large catastrophic events that the umbrella would cover. So you could have $15 million per claim, and then you could have another $15 million. NYMER, when they set up their program, the largest limit of liability that they offered is $10 million per occurrence and the $20 million aggregate. So NYMER's program offers 10, 20 versus your current 15 or 30. Elizabeth asked me to take a look and find out what other municipalities carry. We insure approximately 40 municipalities in Westchester, Putnam, and Dutchess County, and the biggest limit of liability that any of our municipalities carries is $10 million, $20 million.
And these are, some of these municipalities have their own police forces and fire departments?
Yes,
I mean,
some
with
of the bigger exposure municipalities include police and fire. The bigger areas of liability that we see for a town like Rhinebeck would be under the public officials liability, under land use, employment practice liability, pollution coverage. NYMER stacks up well in those areas. Many of those coverages now are excluded under your current policy. So there's some thought to it that NYMER's policy is broader. Even though you have higher limits of liability, you really have to look at what it covers. So some of the areas under your umbrella right now, they exclude employment practice liability, they exclude failure to supply water, sewer services. So I think some of those areas some are bigger exposure areas are actually excluded under the umbrella now.
Also, the NYMER has land use, so if we had had NYMER, we would have been covered for several lawsuits that we face for the comprehensive plan.
And some other
Are you saying we would have been covered?
Yes, I
Only
believe
if we
so.
lost a lawsuit, right? And we wouldn't have been covered to cover our expenses in defending. Would you think, Brian?
Typically, the way, I'd have to review the complaint. If the complaint's coverage, which I think it would have been, the town would have been covered for defense. NYMER would have defended the town. And many of these land use issues, it's mainly a lot of defense costs, and the claim goes away because there's usually no merit to it. It just costs a lot of money for defense. NYMER would pick up first dollar defense on that claim. There would be no deductible if they paid just defense. If there was a judgment levied against the town, I think the town would have, in our program, a $5,000 deductible. So that's one area that NYMER covers.
I would be interested in actually getting a definitive answer as to whether we would be covered under NYMER. I know we're not covered. I've been advised under selective. I'd be quite surprised if we were covered by...
Well, I could email the land use policy endorsement that NYMER has. It's my understanding that NYMER is the only carrier in the state that offers this coverage. And being that NYMER is operated by its municipal members, like yourselves, there's a board of 13 members that run and operate NYMER. This is one coverage that they felt that they wanted to have in the program.
You know, really, I asked Brian here to give us an overview. We haven't gotten any competitive bid in yet. I checked with our bookkeeper today. I have looked at a lot of the coverage. I've been working with him since the spring on the bidding out of the different.
Yeah, we've looked at it for a long time, and
Yeah.
I appreciate all the help that the town provided us to get the information. And when we first looked at it, we thought we could have some savings, but you never know. But I think more importantly, it's important, very important to make sure the coverages are there, because if you're paying, approximately $80,000 for insurance, and NYMER could, round numbers come in around $65,000, that's significant, but you really want to look at what it covers. And I think NYMER, when you review the coverage forms, offers superior coverages. I think that's really what we're talking about tonight.
Yeah, and I think specifically because during our budget sessions, I brought up the NYMER when we were looking at numbers and crunching numbers. Some of you maybe weren't that comfortable with lowering our umbrella limits, and I'm for it after seeing what towns like White Plains, Dutchess County has, I think, a quarter of what we have for their. We could buy it up for another $10,000, but it feels out of scale with what other
right now, our
municipalities.
program with the 10 million, 20 million umbrella, I think is approximately 65,000.
Yes, as opposed to 89, we were paying, I think, last year, 89,000, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have all the numbers. But if we wanted to increase the umbrella to match what you had, it would be about $8,000 more. If you wanted to lower the umbrella limit to a $5 million, $10 million, you'd save another $5,000 from our quote.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Have you ever had towns join NYMAR and then leave NYMAR?
We've had one municipality that we've insured. They were a longtime member. They left after about 15 or 16 years. And I think that's a pretty good track record.
Why did they leave?
They got a better price. It was a pricing issue. And NYMAR doesn't chase the market up or down. They have actuarial studies that they determine their rates, and they're not a market-driven insurance company. They want to provide stable, predictive rates. And sometimes if you come into a real soft insurance market, there's some companies out there who are willing to, provide very inexpensive insurance coverage. I had questions about the coverages that they offered, but sometimes, people just focus on the price and they left. NYMAR has an extremely high retention rate among its members that join NYMAR.
How many municipalities? There are about 900 municipalities in New York State.
I think there's a little over 1,000 municipalities, so NYMAR has quite a bit of the market share. And some municipalities aren't a fit with NYMAR just because of the size. Some of the bigger cities are not eligible for NYMAR.
So if we wanted to accept a $5 million, $15 million umbrella limit, our coverage would go down to $61,000 a year?
Yeah, if we right now we quoted 510.
Yes.
If we went 1020.
1020.
If we went to a 510, it would save.
510.
510, it would save a little over 5,000.
So about $61,000 a year. Thank you.
What is it now, 1530? 1530?
Yes, it
30.
is.
Yeah.
Which, is there a page in here showing what?
No, I could just read off some of the towns.
Well, this is,
Oh, hold it, it is.
are you asking for a page with a summary of the differences?
Summary of the differences, and also I think
Page 1 of 1?
well, tab 5, I had included something that Brian sent to us, which gives some, this is a summary of all the coverages, but I think there are some other just a comparison with other towns and what their limits are. Was that not included in here?
I have it listed.
Okay, thank you.
But the towns in our area, Fishkill carries a 714, Amenia a 24, Dover 1020, Clinton 0, Hyde Park 1020, LaGrange 1020, Milan 24, Red Hook 36, Stanford 24, Fishkill 510, Red Hook 1020, Tivoli 24, and then East Fishkill 1010, Wappingers 1010, Rhinebeck 1530, and Dutchess County 1010. So that gives you a smattering of municipalities in Dutchess, and that's what we see in Westchester and Putnam as well.
Oh, what do you see in Putnam and Westchester?
1020 is the highest.
Yeah.
Why do you think we have a 1530?
I could only guess. Sometimes in the insurance marketplace, if you had 10 million before, sometimes the insurance underwriter will say, geez, for another 5 million, it's a few $1,000s, and you look at the budget and say, well, we might as well do it. I think some municipalities, maybe took a look at that and said, why not? And they tend not to look at their overall exposures of risk as opposed to just looking at the price.
I think you guys have to go through all this coverage if you haven't. I've spent quite a lot of time looking at it, and it exceeds or meets. Again, we haven't received our other quote yet.
Could I ask a couple of questions? Sure. On this page 1 of 1, where I think you're trying to summarize the key differences between Selective and NYMAR.
Yes.
And just looking at that, it looked like on public officials' back wage limit, NYMAR is better. What does the next one mean? Non-monetary defense for employment practices claims. There it looks like NYMER is worse.
Yeah, they're a little worse. What we're seeing now is on some claims, some of the plaintiff attorneys are weaving wording into a claim where they actually are not suing for damages. They just want their job back under employment practice. So a lot of times in the past, these coverages weren't triggered by the public officials policy because there was no monetary damages. So NYMER was the first one to say, to address this issue because the municipalities were saying, you know, we want defense coverage on this. And they offered $50,000 of defense coverage of this non-monetary employment practice. I think other companies piggybacked on and, you know, tried to match or exceed what NYMER's offering, and I think Selective in this case is offering higher coverage. They have 100.
So that's just for defense costs?
Yes.
And then the next one, what does that mean on deductibles?
The deductibles, NYMER will defend a claim, and they will not apply the deductible unless the claim's paid out. So NYMER will apply their defense to a claim, and they're going to charge out if no money is given out.
If money is given out?
Then the deductible would apply to the indemnity award.
Okay,
So, and that's, you know, NYMER's is a little better wording. What would happen with Selective would be if a claim came in and Selective defended it to a zero verdict, and they spent, you know, $5,000 or $10,000 in defense costs, they'll get a bill for, you know, the deductible, $5,000 or $10,000 in deductible. In that same scenario, NYMER would not send the town a bill.
what is the deductible?
It's $5,000 for public officials.
And it looks like in the other things, NYMER is better, or am I misreading it?
No, those are the differences. I would say NYMER is better. One thing that might be beneficial to the town is to help you with the GASB compliance. NYMER will offer building appraisals on any building over 50,000, which might be useful.
So the only one NYMER is worse on is this $50,000 for non-monetary defense of employment practice
Yes.
claims. Is there anything else we should know?
But you say worse than it's $50,000 in coverage for defense on non-monetary employment.
Right.
That's significant.
What?
It's significant, don't you think?
Well, Select is offering 100, but I think that's
You
adequate.
got to weigh it with everything else, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, do you think, in your opinion, do you think that's a reasonable $50,000 for defense for a non-monetary labor claim? Seems.
I don't know. I'm just really trying to understand it. We just got this big thing. I gather we don't have to make any decision tonight.
No, this, before the end of the year, we have to
Yes.
decide.
Did you review the 2010 proposal that the town had from Ralph Ellis? I mean, he's retired now.
No, I did not.
We did it's, I just thought maybe it might be helpful. I think things have changed since then, so maybe, I'm just wondering if you did or not.
We had an independent audit done.
They reviewed different Trident, Zurich, NYMER, and Selective at that point in time, but the price was less then, so I don't know. It's different now, so maybe that's a difference here.
I'm not too sure what the NYMER quote was, but I know NYMER's price, I think NYMER's pricing is similar to what it was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, right. It is, actually, yeah.
What, NYMER is a cooperative insurance company?
Well, it's actually, it's not a cooperative, it's an insurance company. It's just owned and operated by its municipal members. It's licensed by New York State. It has an AM Best rating of A.
What is Selective rating?
They're an A.
Both A's?
Yes.
Any other questions?
I'm afraid to talk.
We start coughing?
Yeah. I just noticed on the sewer project on page 17, it's got the injection pump, 25,000. There's two plants down there. Generators
Sorry
are
about
not
that.
covered at all. The generators wouldn't be covered.
What location is that?
It's number 7 on the list on page 17.
The way it is now, it would be a stretch to get those covered unless we listed the generators. I'm not too sure the value on the generators. Do you have any idea?
They're pretty big.
Yeah.
$7,000, $8,000.
Yeah.
So that's something that we'd want to list, that we'd want to schedule on that location. Or
Okay.
Well, I think we have to take some time and look through this. Are we expecting another?
Yes, I'm gonna, Shelley's gonna follow up. I talked to her today.
Okay.
We hadn't received it. We'll follow up this week.
Okay.
And thank you, thanks for coming down.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for all your work on this.
Where are you located, Brian? Mail Patch?
We're in Mayapack, that's in Putnam County.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just down the road from East Hudson.
Yeah, it all comes back, doesn't it?
Brian, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
All right, we have a few items for business before the board to approve vouchers. Resolution approving vouchers 11B, V 1172 through V 1217. That's your tab 6 in your book.
The tabs.
Love the tabs.
Yeah. So we'll have a motion and second whenever you're ready.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Item 2 is a resolution approving capital projects abstracts on tab 7 of your book. Motion and second.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
What is this one for?
Tab 7, what's that?
Yeah, the 4,800.
There is no, I didn't see paperwork on this.
That should have been on the flip side.
I think this was in the folder for us that
Should have been on the
you
flip
went over
side.
the
I don't know.
folder.
Okay.
Right, there was
You
a
wanna-
capital
do you wanna-
budget in there.
Do you want to hold that back while I go get it?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm gonna go get it. In that little folder. Grab the voucher folders.
No, it's not going to be there.
You want to come back to this one?
Yeah, let's
Wanna
go
wait?
back.
Sure.
I'll go get it for you.
Item 3 is a resolution approving the disposal of a computer monitor.
Motion?
It's a bookkeeper's monitor. Motion and second. I thought we did this before.
It's just a question, how are we going to dispose of this? We're going to,
Take it up to the transfer station, put it in the electronic stuff.
oh, okay, so it's garbage.
Yep.
Yeah.
Motion and second.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
So moved. Item 4 for business is a resolution approving the Columbia Green contract, which I believe is for the dogs.
Yeah.
Patrol.
I read through this, there is a change they want to make. I want to, they weren't in when I called them after I read through this today. The only change they say is in it is that they won't make any adjustments per municipality. It's their standard contract for all municipalities, and it's take it or leave it, although we can add addendums to it if we want. So I'm not sure if we are ready to adopt it. We may want to add an addendum to it. I'm not sure.
Want to hold it over, or you want to?
Yeah, if everyone's okay with that. But I'll have it for the next one, so we have it ready before the end of the year.
Sounds good. So we'll hold this over.
And Bruce, do you see that this is affected, or the dog park has anything to do with this at all? Okay.
Unless you want me to put cages in the dog park, but that doesn't sound,
Let's not go there.
That's a holdover then. Item 5 is a resolution approving the scheduling of budget public hearing for 2013 to Vandenberg Cove Sewer District.
motion.
Second.
Bruce, I just had a question on this. Just looking at this sheet, which I guess is the thing we're going to have the hearing on, it seems to jump around a lot, like the expenditures were $61,000 in 2012, yet for 2013, we're budgeting $48,000.
Well, there's some things in here, for instance, the $7,500 for the grant writer was paid in 2012. So that wouldn't apply in 2013. So that's a reduction right there. There's other things. Sludge varies from year to year. We may not have to do it every year, I don't know. We're trying to get a handle on that. We have pretty much a fixed contract with the operator for 5 years, as we discussed the last time. And the one unknown in all of this is what the annual EFC payments will be on the loan, because we still haven't got the final DEC check yet. And but what the committee wants to do is they wanted to go to $1,200 per household or per parcel to build up a reserve for replacement in the future.
An additional or
No.
okay.
Yeah, we had been, back in June when we talked about the strategy for the sewer district, we'd come up with a rough figure of $1,164 a
Right.
year.
So
And what they're saying is, if we could take it up to 12, it helps us build a little bit of
fund balance.
yeah, because the system's going to need to be replaced in 25, 30 years.
So, like for 2012, the expenditures were $61,000 and you budgeted $40,000. That
Yeah, but
efficiency is met by fund balance? Is that the way it works, just like the town?
yeah, the big surprise there, if you look down, is the principal payment that wasn't budgeted for. We'd been putting money away in smaller increments, so we covered it with fund balance.
I see. And the committee has approved this piece of paper, is that?
It's with their input in it,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
And they don't have their own governing board, so what they put in
We didn't vote on it.
goes through our budget and relates to the tax cap, because they don't have an independent governing.
Right.
And did we, are these the numbers that we used in doing our budget? Or is this going to have some kind of positive or negative effect on our budget?
I don't think it'll affect our budget. It was very close to what we had run.
Okay. My questions.
So we'll have a motion and a second to approve December 12th at 7 p.m. for the Vandenberg Cove Sewer District
We have a motion and a
hearing.
second.
I just want to make sure, we didn't mention December 12th, 7 p.m. So all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Was it the
Opposed?
12th or what?
I have the 12th in the resolution.
At 7 PM?
Isn't it the 10th?
said 12th. 12th is a Wednesday. Did you want
No,
a
it's
Monday?
supposed to be a Monday.
Monday,
That's
not
the
the
10th.
12th.
So we'll make that the 10th.
There's a, yeah, you got that.
Is that good? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved, 7 PM.
I always get the dates wrong.
That's all right. That was item 12. John, for item 4, approving Columbia Green, we're going to hold that over to consider some amendments Gina will look into. Okay. Item 6 is a resolution approving the purchase of a chain link fence sections for the pool pavilion.
Motion.
A second.
Okay, this is actually a capital request. We have 3 bids. If you know the portable fence that they have around the police station over there?
Yes.
That's what we're talking about. And what we do right now is in the winter, we take an old roll of chain link fence, and a friend and I go out and we stand it up and we run it out the length of the pool area, and we staple it onto the pavilion. And it's so the people can use the pavilion when the pool's closed. That's the point of it. What would make it a whole lot easier is if we had these portable sections that we could just set up. It also would allow us to use the pavilion to rent it out or use it for other things when the pool is closed other times during the year, and may help us with thunderstorms when the camp's in session.
How would it help us with thunderstorms?
It just keeps them inside.
Keeps them away from the pool, keeps
Yeah.
the kids away from the pool. What's the capital fund? I don't have my budget with me. What's the H3854 fund?
I don't. It's probably the pool thing. I don't have
Anybody
one.
have a?
I don't have it on me either. So that's in the amount of $2,500 from that capital line?
Well, yeah, what we have is we have a bid from Federal Fencing for $1,740 plus shipping, it's $700. Then we've got another one from Fortress Fence, $3,500 plus shipping, and another one from Hoover Fence for $2,080 plus shipping. So they were all like $700 in shipping.
Yeah, it's the Parks Rec pool. There's
But-
23,000 change in there.
So that's the cheapest one.
Where would we store it? Just
Keep it right there.
put it in the back when it's not being used and move it to the front, or,
It could just go in the back of the pavilion.
yeah. All right.
Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? And that's so moved.
Now, do you want to go back to item number 2, Tom, now that we have that paperwork on it?
Sure. So item 2 is resolution approving the capital projects abstracts for tab 7, and it pertains to the Thompson Mazzarella Park, I believe, right? For,
No, some of it, I think, relates to the landfill,
Yeah, the
first 2 items.
the quarry and Vonderleef for the fixing the road there.
Okay.
The emergency fix.
Weston and Sampson is the progress thing. The Gellert and Klein, I forget what it was for, but it was an email, I think. And I don't know what Brick Tavern Concrete is. Oh, that's your steps at the cemetery.
Oh, that's the steps, yeah, for the, right,
Yeah, I approved these earlier.
okay. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? That's so moved. Returning to item 7, a resolution approving the purchase of beaver traps for the landfill.
Motion.
Second.
Here we go. Okay, I think it was last week or the week before, it was the week before, we met with DEC out at the landfill. 3 CAB members, Michael Trimble, Bob was there, right? Tom Mannix, Bobby Fitzpatrick, somebody else, I don't know. But there was the landfill DEC guy and the wildlife DEC guy. And we went around, we looked at why the water is so high, and then we got into what's the danger of the water. And so this is where we are. What the DEC guy said was, basically he recommended we trap the beavers. And
How many do you think there are?
2. But, and he didn't seem to have a problem with that, but it's a sensitive issue. And so I didn't want to be the one to make the sensitive decision. So I'm willing to try the have-a-hearts. From what I understand, they may not work, so it may be wasted money. Also, Sharon Sherrod was telling me that if we catch them, we can't let them go anyplace except on our own property,
Your property.
on town property.
I thought she meant your house.
But she did mean my house because she knows I have a
So,
stream.
Other
But,
town property,
yeah,
they can come to my backyard,
okay.
See?
So
What a public servant.
right?
Elizabeth
Hey.
has donated her property to the town.
Well, I know woodchucks have to be 7 miles from where you trap them, or they go back. I don't know if beavers are the same, or what
They're migratory.
I live right across from Snyder Swamp, so they should be happy there,
Mm.
right?
Well, we'd have to check.
Yeah.
Sharon, do you want to comment at all, or not?
Oh.
Okay. You know, again, we could try it. When you read the reviews, people, it's hit and miss with being
what's-
able to get
What's the
beaver.
alternative? What are we talking about?
Trapping them and killing them.
Ugh.
And if you just, is it, as long as we're doing it with the DEC approval, I think that we're fine. I personally prefer have a heart. It doesn't always work, but in the vast majority, I've had it work. But is it more likely to be successful if you demolish their dams and then trap them when they're more exposed? And are we allowed to demolish their dams?
Yeah, we're allowed to demolish their dams. This is going to get a little weird here. Our pipes going out of our property under Stone Church Road, there's 2 of them, goes across to the aerodrome. They have 1 pipe. So the capacity that we let go is going to flood the aerodrome. So we have to do it very, very slowly. And Bobby's been going out there and walking through and taking it down 8 inches at a time. But they build it up 8 inches because they hear the water, that they're driven by the sound. And it's if you do it all at once, if you could, that'd be the best solution, but right now it doesn't look like we can do it all at once. That's our problem.
Except the aerodrome is now closed for the season. It might not be a bad time to do it.
Right, we still can't let it all go at once.
So this is an approval for $200 from H3046 Capital Fund to purchase the traps. And so there's a motion and second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? And that's so moved.
So we're going to have traps for rent if anybody wants to borrow them.
Rent them out, couldn't we?
Rent
Yeah,
them out
yeah.
very
Revenue.
reasonably.
Item eight.
Bruce,
yeah,
let
Fred.
me ask you this.
Beavers?
As big as John.
Because I have a couple traps you can borrow.
I've got my woodchuck traps, but Bruce said they're not
Yeah.
quite big enough.
These are 50 inches by 19 by 24. That's what they recommend for beavers. So over 4 foot long.
Bruce, together, I think with this is this thing from Stephen Paricio.
Yeah, it's farther down.
Are you going to talk about that? Or?
Yeah, it's farther down the agenda.
Oh, okay.
All right, item eight for resolution is to approve the budget transfers and amendments on tab 13. Is there a motion and second?
Motion.
Second, no, which item is this, Tom?
Item eight.
This is what we just got today at 3 o'clock.
Item 8, page, tab 13. What do you got?
I'm going to abstain. We got this late today, didn't we? I'm going to abstain on this.
The problem with, we've discussed this at length, the problem with this is we don't know with the vouchers whether there's money or not because we don't have financial reports.
Right.
And we have this transfer that we have to do to cover the vouchers that we just approved. So it's a catch-22 as far as the town board is concerned.
Well, but it's backwards.
I know.
Well, that's what the discussion has been, yeah.
I sent Shelley a note today saying that this was too late, and now that the audit is over, is there any way that we can get this?
Look, I agree we ought to get it earlier, but, you know, there's a plus and a minus, so all she's doing is moving it from one line to another line. To me, it's no big deal. The pluses and the minuses balance out, so.
Yeah,
I'm
the problem is,
I'm ready to approve it.
the problem, Joe, is that the amount that you think you're moving, you don't know whether it's really there or not. You don't know whether it's a surplus because you haven't seen a report. So that I'm okay approving it for this time, but it's becoming more of an issue.
Yeah, I'm abstaining.
Okay, so all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Abstain.
So moved. Item 9 is a resolution approving service contracts on tab 14.
Motion.
Second.
And you guys are aware of the service contracts?
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion on it?
Well, Mildred shouldn't be on the Infomatic.
Mildred, the old
Like
book?
Hilda O'Brien is still on our parking resolution.
Retired a little while ago.
Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's so moved. Items for discussion, possible action is that item 1 is a need for engineering and/or hydrogeology study for the landfill water table.
Okay, so go to tab 12. Our friends, the Beavers, brought us, when we contacted the DEC, I went to the CAB, and I asked the CAB to get involved in this because, well, you can understand the excitement on my part. And so the DEC was very good. They came, Steve Pariso, Perry, well, you can read it. He's the landfill guy, and the other guy was the wildlife. They came out, they looked over the site, they took the pictures. There's a lot of issues. They're concerned about the water level. The reality is probably this landfill was built in a wetland in the 50s or 60s, and it's always been garbage-soaked water ever since we started dumping there. And so the real question is, if the higher water table now, because of the beaver, is really doing anything, and so that's going to get us into all kinds of studies and everything else. I talked to Russell Urban Mead, our Chazen engineer. He's going to come at the next board meeting and talk to us about some of our options. He's been working with the DEC on this. Right now, it looks like we might have to do a borehole through the top of the landfill, the closed landfill, which means we compromise the seal. And he also has some cost savings ideas ballpark figure right now, just to get started, is $10,000 to $15,000. The real question, though, is there anything we're really going to be able to do? It was permissible back in, when they built the landfill, and we may just have to live with that, like we've been living with it for years. What we do need is, we need the closing report for the landfill, which would have been around 96. Can you look for that, John, please? Any other documentation that we have about the closing, any of the tests that they did, would be very helpful. The reason is because if way back when somebody decided that this was a bowl and it was full of water and we were dumping in it, then that's very different than if this was high, dry land. And that's the difference. And Tom Mannix has looked at it. There's, trenching we can do and all kinds of things, but the question is...
What does that buy us at the end of the day? What is it sealed with, Bruce?
There's some kind of a membrane over the top of it, some rubber membrane.
We need to see what we did way back when, and then decide if this testing can do anything for us.
Well, but we may not have a choice with the testing now that DEC...
DEC may mandate it?
Yeah.
Bob, what did the CAB think?
You should go to the microphone. Just from the CAB.
We don't know really what's in that water. Until that water being let loose, if you remove the dams, you might have a drainage problem with water running off, but you might be releasing, whatever's in that water, pollutants on people's property. Who's got liability like that?
I know, does the airdrome know about this?
Yeah, the
All right.
airdrome knows about it. The other thing with this is that Chazen's engineers said that the water table was 2 quarters ago was not up. So this
is the recent rains and the beavers?
Well, it's the beavers. The rains really don't matter that much. So 2 quarters ago, when they inspect every quarter, and it was okay then. But what I would suggest is everybody stay calm until the 10th, and let Russell come in and tell us what he thinks. And he's working with the DEC, with Steve at the DEC, so he'll have a good handle on it.
Thank you.
Can you make sure that gets on the agenda for the 10th, please? Thank you.
Just who's coming?
What?
Who's going to be coming for that?
It's Russell Urban Mead.
From
Chazen?
Chazen,
Yeah.
to discuss the drainage issues up there.
Thanks for being on top of that.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
Bruce.
too.
It's better than being on the bottom of it.
Yeah, well. Follow up on December 12th. Next item, the 10th. I said the 12th because of the other thing that you messed me
No.
up on. Anyways. Refinancing the highway garage bond. Joe, did you work on that?
Well, I spoke to Scott. We all got a communication from Scott saying that we have no right to prepay. So it's only if the bank, and it's the Bank of Millbrook, allows us to. I asked Scott who has the contact with that bank. I don't believe we have any accounts with that bank. He suggested probably Shelley would have the most recent communications. So maybe I'll ask Shelley.
Actually, I'm sorry, Bank of Millbrook?
Yeah.
Yeah, but didn't
We
he say it was
had,
bought?
sorry.
It was recently bought by somebody?
We had refinanced our band for the bridge with them just recently.
Right.
And that'll be up next year, so I could talk to the VP on that.
Okay, if
I
you
didn't-
want to talk to them and ask them if we can prepay, if we wanted to. And
Well,
then, let me just finish. And then if he says we can prepay, then we can explore whether it would be cost-effective to do it. But it's silly to start running lawyer's meter till we know if we could even prepay.
What did he say? He said it was about 4.5% for 3 years, right? On
I
the,
think that's what it was.
Yeah.
So if you will call the bank
Yeah.
and let us know, if you can give me a call after you speak to the bank, then maybe we can talk to a couple of lawyers as to what the costs would be to refinance that, pay it off, and go with the cheaper
Right.
financing.
Right.
So if you would give me a call.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be worth our while to make a visit to them, sure.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But
They-
if we
they-
can't prepay,
they have to allow us, he said. It's not,
The bank
they
has
have to give us a, we're
Right.
not allowed to do it. They may waive that or.
Right, I know. Okay.
But let's make sure we check fund balances before we decide to repay anything.
right, no, I understand. But Bruce, presumably we could do it at the same closing as the new financing kicks in. You know, there shouldn't be any gap period, but let's see if we can do it before we,
Okay. 2011 AUD observations.
Okay, I gave you a little sheet, just the board. It's cryptic as usual from me. On page 23, there's no revenues or expenditures for the water district.
Page 73, Bruce?
Yeah,
I'm
73,
sorry, page 73 of what
of
is
the
it?
2011 AUD.
Okay.
This
just
is
so we're grounded, these are mistakes that you found?
they're observations, I'm not saying they're mistakes.
Oh, okay.
It looks like they just skipped over the water district thing. So that basically says that $12,900 in revenue and $12,900 in expense were just overlooked. Next one was on page 86, there were no retirees on the medical insurance line. So we had 10, 11, 12 retirees that aren't accounted for. I don't know whether that affects the amount or not, but it wasn't there. Page 87, there's no diesel, either the dollar amount or the volume, the gallons. So if you're ever trying to track the history of your diesel expenses and usage, you can't do it. That was omitted. Just in general, the revenues and expenditures differ for the fire fund.
What's SF fund?
SF is the village fire department, Rhinebeck Fire Department. Just $72. That's not real bad. But the biggest one there was the highway part-town fund, where the expenditures differed by $12,471. And as far as the revenue goes, the H fund, which is the capital fund, was off by $90,000. And as I looked into that, it's the way the accountant treats the ban revenue as revenue, and Shelley doesn't. So that accounts for the $90,000.
Did you submit this to the person who did the audit?
No, I just did this today. I haven't done anything with it. But I'd been asked what my comments were. So, and then down below, there's an example of the fuel. I gave you 2008, 9, and 10, and 11. So you can see the volumes that we used are all over the place, and the dollar amounts are all over. But we really should get this kind of stuff figured out if we're trying to, especially electricity.
Where is this audit, Bruce?
Soft copy. We would have gotten it in May.
100 pages?
Yeah,
I didn't,
I'll send it to you.
you have an electronic copy?
Yeah, PDF. I can send it to you. So that was that.
The next step, since we're probably going to use the same person next year to do the
Didn't we-
AUD, because I think we shopped around, and
Didn't-
that was,
Did we budget for that for this year?
Yeah.
What did we, oh, we didn't budget for the,
so
But-
we probably should transmit this and to her, so she knows we're doing the next one.
Yeah, we should do that, but we should also ask ourselves, if you go through these things, they're 100 pages apiece, roughly. You go through year after year, you see huge swings in things, and some of it makes sense, some of it doesn't. And like, as an example down here, the gasoline. Why would we have used 19,000 gallons of gas in 2008, and we use roughly 5,000 every other year past that? Those types of things, I think we should do some kind of a review before this goes out, before it gets signed and goes out. I mean, it's your report, Tom, but I think,
why would we have? Is something not being accounted for, or?
I have no idea. But they're all like that. They're
I mean, that's significant. That's 4 times,
right.
you know.
And you see big savings in fuel oil in 2010, $13,000 in 2010, then it's, in 2011, it's $23,000. And the price of oil didn't go up that much. So I think we should just, when it's time to do this, we should review it before it gets shipped.
I think we
Thank
need to send it to the auditor and have her respond to these. Maybe there's.
100 pages of light reading.
Well, I think we ought to send it to her if we're going to run up a big bill in responding to it.
I think we just pay her one fee.
The world doesn't come to an end.
The other problem with this is the controller's office, when they put the stuff in their database, they pull them out of the AUDs. And they don't always do it right. For this year, for 2011, they put in that Rhinebeck paid $60 in Social Security. So that's a typo, and we can go and correct it, but it throws everything off. And so we really need to check how these reports get used.
Right. Item 4, you'll say? Item 4 for discussion is the Historic Sites Committee.
Look, in this connection, we got passed out at the last, or a couple meetings ago, a draft law that a committee had prepared in 2004. I'm missing pages from that draft. I sent a email to Ms. Kelly, but I never got a response. So until I get a full set of it, it's hard really to react. One of the things I raised last time was notifying people who would be affected by this. And I thought it was around 20, but I think whoever presented, maybe it was Melody Moore, said, no, it's more, but maybe that's the missing pages. So I think until we can get a full set of this, we really can't proceed in thinking about it. I still would like to, if we really are going to look at this seriously, I think we really should notify people who are going to be affected by it and really have a hearing as to whether it's a worthwhile project or not.
Is there a list of specific properties, or is there a set of criteria?
No, there's a list of specific properties.
Can we
here.
all get a copy of that, or is there an electronic?
Well, if I can get all the pages, I would certainly circulate it.
electronic copy?
But I think the first task is to try to get
Okay.
a full set of it, and I guess since I haven't gotten a response from Ms. Kelly, maybe I'll ask Melody.
Can I see
she
what-
has a full set.
Do you mind, could I see what you have there? Would you just pass it? I'll pass it back.
Here, so I have.
Thank you.
All right.
So I would just kind of table this till we get a full set and we can decide
Thanks,
what we
Joe.
want to do.
All right, good. Next item up is Anthony Gasparini.
During my presentation, and thank you for giving me this opportunity, I'd like to hand out my presentation so you can follow along.
Thanks.
Hi, thanks.
Thank you.
I'd like to address the board tonight.
I'm sorry. I usually don't make comments about specific people.
Okay.
Residents. I don't mind about public officials, but
Okay.
people who might not be here or
Okay.
whatever. I mean, if you don't mind. I mean, we
No.
can see who it is. If you don't-
Yes,
okay.
I won't mention the name.
Okay.
I can mention the property.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
I think
for
so.
reference. First of all, I live at 102 Old Albany Post Road in Rhinebeck, New York. My wife and I, Denise, have lived at this property for 20 years. My discussion tonight before the board is concerning 97 Old Albany Post Road, grid number 6168-00-475553. It's registered in the 10 Calola Organization, Inc. Dear Sir, Madam, the above-mentioned property is situated in the town of Rhinebeck in a R3A zoning district. Please see the property record attached. The property consists of a single-family dwelling, garage, and accessory building. The accessory building has been illegally converted into a residence and has been occupied on a daily basis for the last 3 years by its owner. The owner had purchased the property and rented out the single-family residence while using the garage as an office and the accessory building as a base for the owner's electrical business. Can I mention the electrical business? No?
No need.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no
All right.
need for sure.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
Are you going to read this whole letter to us?
Well, it's my intent to read it so it's on and the public record, because this is something I've been living with for the last 8 years, and it's important to me, so I believe it should be as important to you. And
No, it is.
or do you want to read it and ask me questions about it?
Yeah, I'd rather the board will have it, and then it'll be part of the record here.
Okay.
Maybe it is.
I'm just concerned about too much personal information of another party involved, but because, they're not here, and really
Okay.
it's not the right forum for it.
Okay.
But it's appropriate that we retain this in the record, I believe. Is there any problem with that, John, you think, or? I don't think so. But a lot of your, however.
As my attorney pointed out, this does involve the conduct of one of your employees.
Well, I was going to say, however, if you're going to refer to a public servant.
Yes.
It may be appropriate.
Okay. Okay.
Or a title of it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, then, regarding the office that I'm referring to, I've been doing all my correspondence over the past 8 years with the zoning and building department. The former officers were the late Alan Dinger, rest his soul, and Jack Mays. At the time, they granted me some relief, but the situation is back again. And as a result, I came to this town hall on November 13th, and I visited the current town of Rhinebeck zoning officer, Christian Kite.
Fekete.
Kekete?
Fekete.
Fekete, okay. His business card said K. If you could see, I listed the response, question, and answer. And I myself, Anthony Gasparini, I asked him what the current status of my complaint filed with the zoning officer during August of this year. The zoning officer responded, "We have issued a violation, Mr. So-and-so." At that point, I responded, "Why has this office allowed an illegal habitation of the accessory building, which has been modified into a residence?" The zoning officer then questioned as to, "What do you want me to do?" I responded, "I want this office to serve the individual with a cease and desist order, preventing him from living there. The situation has been allowed by the town of Rhinebeck for the last 8 years. When is it going to be stopped? The zoning officer then responded, well, the owner is applying for an application for a variance, so we have to allow him to proceed with the application. I responded, who upholds the zoning laws for the municipality? This illegal use, in my opinion, is devaluating my property and my lifestyle. The zoning officer countered with nonsense. How is the owner activity devaluating my property? At this point, because I felt that there was a clear bias with the zoning officer with relations to this property owner and the way he was conducting himself, I excused myself from the meeting, and I happened to run into the supervisor, and I discussed it with him. And I assume he followed up in his capacity as a supervisor. I'm at a loss here, because I've owned my property for 20 years. I've taken out 3 building permits. I follow the law. I have everything reviewed by the zoning officer, the building thing. I got my C of Os. But yet this is allowed to happen in a residential neighborhood. We got a business being operated out of it, and we have somebody illegally living in an accessory building that was illegally converted, and there's no certificate of occupancy. There is no adequate sanitary facilities for that building. The surrounding private wells around that area have been hit with bacterial densities. I hold almost 4 certifications. I'm waiting for my 4th one from the state of New York as a certified water operator, and I hold a 3A wastewater, and I have an associate's degree in applied science in the field. I've been practicing for 36 years. So I consider myself a professional when it comes to commenting on it. There hasn't been proper oversight. As this board knows, we had a tragedy in Poughkeepsie with Marist students. We're talking about insurance coverage here. We're talking about fiduciary responsibilities. But yet we allow this in our backyard. We allow my wife and I to suffer these consequences for 8 years. So I'm here tonight before the board to ask, what's going on? We have Sally Mazzarella and all these other people that are so valuable to our community that made this town what it is, with the Greenway Plan, the Conservancy, Land Conservancy Act, the Master Plan. But we have a department within our municipality that's not upholding the zoning laws. That baffles my mind.
Well, I appreciate.
Are you able to follow up with it yet with Christian?
Well,
we're in the
yeah.
process of it.
Well, certainly he's new.
I understand it's an employer and personnel issue, and that's fine. But I just want protection underneath the law. I don't know how many citizens live in the township of Rhinebeck, but I think, as you worked in law enforcement, we're a people that live underneath laws. Without laws, we're a lawless society. And I'm suffering the consequences of this.
Can I ask where your property is in relationship to this?
Directly across the street. Property was once owned by Southland Farms. It consisted of a 3-bay garage, a creamery, which is listed as an accessory, but on the property card you will see it's listed as a barn. And then there's an old historic farmhouse there, circa 17-something.
That's your property?
No, that's 97 Old Albany Post Road. That's the property that I'm discussing with you.
So that's the 2.4 acre parcel?
Yes. I'm directly across the street on the east side of the property, separated by Old Albany Post Road.
Okay, so you're on the 3 acre parcel or the?
I'm on the .89 parcel.
4945, et cetera.
Yeah.
Parcel number.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Well, Tom and I are co-liaisons with the zoning, and I'm meeting with him tomorrow. I'll
Okay.
talk to him as well. The wheels of law travel very, very slowly, and
8
that
years.
must be very frustrating But apparently you did at some point get some relief from prior zoning enforcement officers.
I did, but what's troubling is this. As a department head in another municipality, I have 32 years in public employment. I'm all about documentation, conducting yourself ethically in a way and in a manner that's consistent with proper rules. And when I spoke to your zoning officer, there was no continuity in records. There's no records down there. Why?
Well, there are records,
Well,
believe me.
the onus was put on me.
There's a lot of them.
Actually, what the zoning
Well, that's-
officer indicated to me was that I should keep an active investigation about business, and I said, excuse me, that's your position underneath the township's liability and officer of that department to conduct an investigation into the complaint I'm lodging. You know, so I'm just distraught and unhappy, because if this gentleman could do this for 8 years, then, you know, I can convert my house into a two-family, despite I'm in an R3A, and then I can sit back and wait for the town to serve me a violation. And then you know what I'll say? I'll ask my attorney over there to say, if you're treating that person like you're treating me, then we're equal underneath the law. You're setting a precedence here. By not observing the rules that were adopted in this municipality, you leave every citizen to a certain degree of exposure. You know, there should be a cease and desist order. When there's a violation, there should be a cease and desist order. The individual who's found to be in violation should be removed from the property until such time as either the owner of that property brings that property up to the code and standard of the municipality in which it lies in, or the individual occupant ceases and desists and surrenders underneath the current codes.
Anthony,
Yes.
I appreciate, you know, coming up here. I mean,
And I thank
it's
you
a-
very much for your time.
But he's a new guy. Doesn't, maybe, you know, he needs help, we need help.
I
But
understand
it's-
that.
It's the perfect concept that you come up to the board and tell us what's going on, and then we can move forward on this.
My expectation is this: when you appoint somebody for the town's sake and liability and the protection of the people that live in this municipality, they should be properly trained. If they're not properly trained, there should be a certain period of time for that individual to be afforded to receive that training.
Right.
And the training should be provided by the municipality. But you're doing a disservice to everybody that lives in this community when you hire somebody who does not have the skill set to carry out the job in which they're charged to do.
Right.
And to be honest with you, Tom, to say to me that, well, you know, he might not be trained adequately, that's not a good excuse,
I understand, right.
you know?
Right.
I mean, everyone brings a certain skill set to a job, and I understand that everyone has the ability to learn. An employee is your biggest asset, not the biggest liability. But give him the tool set to do the job, to protect the public interest. 8 years, Tom.
But you did have, there was a period during the 8 years, this is the first time I've
Yes,
received
but
it.
what bothers
with-
me is this, and I don't mean to cut you off. When I asked your zoning officer about the documentation, he says there is none. So I'm only going by what he said to me. He maintains the office, he maintains the records. I'm a citizen, he's a public official. I'm walking into his office. I'm asking him as common ground to open his files, and he says there's nothing.
Point taken. Thanks.
So now you opened up yourself to a liability and the person with the complaint with a liability, because had there been proper documentation, had there been proper operation of that office, that documentation could have been utilized to settle this situation in a more rapid and logical conclusion. I can't wait too much longer on this. I want to respectfully request to this board that I'm not interested in personnel issues. What I'm interested in, give the people the skill set to do their job. I'm out there, and my wife is saying, you know, we were coming home last night.
Wait a minute. Is this
No,
about
no.
this?
No, yes.
Okay.
You know what my wife said to me? I really don't look forward to coming home, and that broke my heart. 20 years living there. I've worked in this community since 1978. I'm not allowing this to happen again. I have an attorney. Please do your due diligence. Please do your job. I want immediate relief. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Joe, I think we're not on here, but you're on here.
Thanks, I'll be quick. There are, first of all, I just want to say thanks again for your resolution a month or so ago. I think maybe Rhinebeck was possibly the first municipality, I think, possibly in the county, to pass a resolution courageously bucking the system and saying that the county should not be taking that over $40,000 in sales tax revenue sharing. So thank you for that, and I've passed it along, and I also passed along the resolution about River Road. Wouldn't it be nice if the town of Rhinebeck Highway Superintendent and the DPW here, or the Highway Department here, were able to still sort of fell on deaf ears, but I passed that along. If you folks are interested, there are 3 opportunities to share your thoughts about the county budget for 2013 and the impact on Rhinebeck before it's too late.
Joel, in connection with our resolution, I was listening today to the Red Hook Town Board meeting. They passed a resolution somewhat similar to ours, saying in the future that increases in revenue should be recognized and given to the towns. Other than Rhinebeck and Red Hook, are there other resolutions floating around?
I should know the answer to that question. My recollection is Hyde Park, and I think there's, I feel stupid. I think there's 1 or 2 communities like in northeastern part of the county that, and from others. I know that the mayor of the city of Poughkeepsie, who's a Republican, John Tyzik, has been raising holy hell in the papers for a couple months. Bob Lacola, who's the Republican town supervisor of Fishkill, has been quoted in the media as being dead set against it. So
It's really the formula that we object to. And just to let you know, Mr. Molinaro did call me since I authored the resolution, and we had a meaningful exchange.
I think he mentioned the fact that he spoke, and even Jerry Hutchings, who's a Republican county legislator from Beekman, confided into me today that his town board has given him grief about it. So, hope springs eternal. If you guys can make it, there are 3 opportunities. It's one thing to pass a resolution. I appreciate it, but imagine if all of the town board members who are justifiably and understandably ticked off, if you all came to the Arlington Middle School on Tuesday, December 4th at 7 o'clock to the annual county budget hearing. I've been going to these things for 15 years. I've never seen elected officials really show up en masse. This might be a good opportunity. If you have something else to do in Poughkeepsie that night, that's the official annual county budget hearing, Tuesday, December 4th, 7 o'clock, Arlington Middle School, 696 Dutchess Turnpike. Now, tomorrow at 5 o'clock is another opportunity if you're interested. I'm on the Budget, Finance, and Personnel Committee. The budget's going to be deliberated and voted on then as well, okay? You also have another opportunity on Thursday, December 6th, is the full county legislature board meeting adoption of the budget. So there's a couple different opportunities there.
Are you going on, is there any other options or any alternatives to dealing with sustainability in the county, other than that can prevent the sales tax? Is there any plans besides what's going out there? Is there any presented plans?
I think there may be dozens of tomatoes hurled in my direction if I reshare my idea for. To me,
I don't mean just yours.
You know my solution to me. I understand sustainable, but to me it's not sustainable to have the property taxes so high and the sales taxes so high. There's no money for anything in the county. There's so many things. You don't want me to stand here and bore you with all the things we've lost in the county budget. There's 7 more county workers about to lose their jobs. To me, that's not sustainable. I
mean, is there a document that says there's a plan alternative B or anything out there?
Do you want to hear my alternative again?
No, I just want a document that says, hey, there's we could give the towns the sales taxes that we've been sharing if we do this.
Well, I've talked about.
Or they could just share anything over the cap. That's what I find most objectionable. Okay, I'll buy into it's tough, take it now. But when when it goes over the 25 million, I'd like it back.
Please come and
That's
speak
my
out
big-
Tuesday,
Well, we're
December
not,
4th.
the cap is
Middle school.
underneath 25. It's shared, everything's shared underneath it.
When it goes over that, we
Over
don't
what?
get, over the,
Right.
when they collect more than that, we don't get the windfall. We don't get, the county keeps everything over that. They don't give it back to us when times get better and this more sales tax come in.
But there's a sunshine rule on this, right?
No.
Isn't like a 3-year
No.
plan for this thing?
No.
No, that's the point that Kathy
That was a
Kinsella
myth.
made, that all of the, in the future, the revenue over and above 25 million
That
is.
we get no cream back when it comes in, and it's just, that's what's objectionable. I understand helping out, I can almost buy into helping out when it's rough, and I talked to Mark about this, but not to give it back to us when it goes above 25 million, it's not on. You saw what, it blew our tax cap. That was our 2%.
Come speak Tuesday, I'm serious.
I
You're
talked
very
to him.
eloquent about this. Speak out publicly, Tuesday, December 4th, 7 PM, Arlington Middle School. Mr.
You know,
Super,
let me just say that I know the county has problem balancing their budget. We have a similar problem. We had to do layoffs. So I'm not so sure I would concede that doing it this year is justified. You know, he has to solve his own problems. We have our own problems, and we have to decide. We're not here to bail out the county.
I agree.
That's my view.
I've been saying the same thing for many years. Towards the point of.
Is there movement in the county with your group? I mean, are they going to pass this budget with this in it? Is there enough
I'm afraid, I'll
pressure?
just be 100% honest with you. I'm afraid unless a whole bunch of elected officials go to that public hearing, there's 3 or 4 chances to speak out, but that is the best one. Tuesday, December 4th, 7 o'clock at the Arlington Middle School. I've been going to these things for 15 years. I've never really seen, even when with the Board of Elections chargebacks and the sheriff's patrols, threatens to put those on the towns. If there are a whole bunch of local town board, city council, village board members speak up, because the county legislators.
Arlington High School or middle school?
Arlington Middle School. The county legislators, we may be dumb, but we're not stupid. We don't want to tick you guys off. It's not just me that comes and tries to report each month to you. So if all, that would put a little fire in their belly.
All right.
But you were talking about, isn't there alternatives? Schenectady County, for 7 years, legally, FDA has not been hassling. They save $1.5 million a year with a Canadian prescription drug option for their county employees and retirees. Springfield, Massachusetts has been doing it for about a decade. Schenectady County has a smaller number of county employees and retirees than we do here. We could save easily $2 million. Here's another has pushed for years, along with Sullivan County, Ulster County. A lot of different counties in the Hudson Valley are part of the Municipal Electricity Gas Alliance. Dutchess County refuses. It would save hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. I'm not gonna. I'll do you a favor and not go into all the different ways. You take a look at what Bill Steinhaus, the county executive, formerly called the 2 biggest cost centers in the county, the county incinerator and the county jail. I've done tons of research on how to save on those. I'm not going to take any more of your time, but there are ways to save other than the current status quo. A little bit of good news. I know that there's Democrats and Republicans who live here in Rhinebeck who have been telling me, Joel, we don't want to see Hudson River Housing boot homeless people out after 4 months, force homeless people to pay $10 a night after 2 months. Thanks to me and Community Voices Heard and the caucus, and that's actually, we scored a win on that. Hudson River Housing is not going to be doing that. And I want to thank Democrats and Republicans, some people who I'm not going to name who have been in this room over the last few months who together we pressed, we made that happen. Dutchess County Department of Social Services is about to close Wednesdays to the public, starting January 1st, where dozens of people come to apply for benefits. This is the last thing I'll mention. Thankfully, there are some folks on the other side of the aisle, and it looks like our caucus as well, trying to make sure for about $80,000, $90,000 a year that we can keep Dutchess County DSS open 5 days a week, because that would be we'd be the first county in the state to close it to the public on Wednesdays. The last thing I'll say is Wednesday, December 12th at 5:30 in here, I'm doing a forum on how should we measure progress. Van Jones was just at the Design by Nature conference with Skip Backus at the Omega Institute, and played the snippet of RFK, Bobby Kennedy, talking about how do we measure progress. I'm working with David Dell and Sustainable Hudson Valley to come up with sustainable indicators for Rhinebeck and Dutchess County. So that's going to be Wednesday, December 12th at 5:30 p.m. Also, the Rhinebeck Zero Waste Project, if you're interested, come that night. I'm at 876-2488, 444-0599. Last but not least, I'm working with Lisa Biscardi and the Rhinebeck Village Clerk and the Rhinebeck Village Board to set up a local public hearing for Rhinebeck folks and Northern Dutchess folks on the county budget. That's either going to be Monday, December 3rd or Wednesday, December 5th at the Rhinebeck Village Hall. Call me for more information, 876-2488. Thank you for your patience. Happy Hanukkah, happy Sinterklaas, happy Kwanzaa, happy Christmas, etc.
Thank you, Joel.
Okay, open the floor for public comments. We don't have committee reports on here. Does anybody want to report on a committee? I mean, not just committees, I'm sorry, anything, departments. Let me just say the assessor's office is busy. They have about 18 cases to prepare for in Supreme Court.
18 cases for what?
Assessment review
For the ag
challenges.
exemptions, or?
For everything, any kind of challenge to their assessed values, and that's going to be in Supreme Court, I think, I don't know, sometime in December, but very soon. So they're packed. And anything else anybody else have? Or?
I don't think so.
Hey, how are you?
How are you?
I need your name and...
Yeah, my name is Evan Krieger.
Okay.
How much time do I have for public comment? I want to be as brief as possible.
3 minutes?
No,
We'll
give you
That's
10.
180 seconds. Okay, go. I'm here to just briefly talk about Transition Town Rhinebeck, which is something I'm involved with.
We just get residents from you.
I'm sorry, Evan Krieger, 287 Zipfeldberg Road between Slate Quarry Road and Route 9G. It becomes Frost Road somewhere in there. I'll tell you how to spell Zipfeldberg after.
That's all right.
Okay. Anyways, every second counts. Okay, so thank you, John, Elizabeth, Bruce, Tom, Gina, Joseph, Mr. Vice President, and everybody else here, members of the Videocracy. Okay, Transition Town, what the heck is that? I've been asking myself that for many years. But Transition Town, it's like a movement, I guess you could say. It's a bunch of people. It started in England. It migrated across Europe, and it started coming to the United States, I think, around 2007. This is a book called Transition. It's called the Transition Handbook. It's a movement that describes itself as being about local resiliency. To me, that just means people having a dialogue, as we're doing tonight. And Transition Town Rhinebeck is about taking the general here, transition towns to Rhinebeck, and I'm, I guess, somewhat you call blow-in. I've only lived here since June, but I've been visiting Rhinebeck since 1996, and I love this area, and I'm really happy to be here tonight. So I probably have about 80 seconds left. Okay, so basically, I'm going to have a meeting in December every day. So I'll be here. Anybody wants to come up, I've got a little piece of parchment. I'm going to write down your contact info, and you can meet me wherever you want, actually. Terrapin, I'll buy you a salad. Meet me at the Beekman Arms, I'll buy you a suit. I'm serious. Or you can come to my house, and I'm definitely going to have a New Year's Transition Rhinebeck party, December 31st from noon to midnight. Everybody's invited, free food. Hope there's some vegans in the audience. But anyways, I probably have 30 seconds left. Okay. I'm going to just take a few of these keynotes.
You can just take your time.
Well, okay. Well, I don't want to, anybody else come up here and you have some other stuff. But, all right, basically, Transition Town, I believe, begins within, okay? And for me, I'm transitioning two things in my life. For health, I'm doing my best to become a vegan. I have something called obstructive sleep apnea. I don't breathe correctly at night, and becoming a vegan is going to help me with that, I believe. And I'm migrating to becoming a sound artist in my work. I mentioned sound art, which is basically sonic instead of visual, because if you were to close your eyes right now, and during this whole time, what you'd hear, everybody's distinct, awesome voice. We all have different voices. And you'd also hear a lot of acronyms and numbers. Now, I was born in 1970, so I'm from Gen X, so to speak. I'm from the information revolution, which I believe is sort of like kind of running out of steam, right? We're all tired of information. At least I'm a little bit. Information's important, but you know, transition towns, they talk about from oil dependency to local resilience, and they talk about something called peak oil, which I will admit is a debatable subject from a certain point of view, or it's something that might be real. I'm not sure. I do believe that we're all kind of dealing with or potentially suffering from peak information, okay? We all can suffer from fiscal poverty or temporal poverty, and I think the key is to figure out how you make the fiscal poverty into some type of wealth generation and the temporal poverty into temporal wealth, right? Every second counts. All the minutes here tonight literally and bureaucratically count. And, you know, renewable energy sustainability, I do believe that, you know, clean tech clusters, you mentioned Van Jones, and yeah, Van Jones, Green Collar Economy, Renew America, new book, and Democrat, Republican, Whig, Federalist, Mudwump, whatever you are, Muppet lover, it doesn't really matter, because if you're into local resiliency, you're into being here tonight instead of Googling or watching C-SPAN. Nothing against media folks, but you know, we're here in this room, and that's a beautiful thing, and I intend to start coming to these meetings. I'll just basically listen and maybe speak a little bit, and I'm going to wrap this up because, sorry, my notes are just bringing me every which way but loose. I don't know if anybody's heard of smart grids. I started hearing about that around the same time of transition towns a few years ago. This is what I think a smart grid is. I'm not sure, but I think it's just people. Like, you know, we're all part of a smart grid. There's the whole STEM thing, which is a big educational push now, science, technology, engineering, and math. But that could also mean storytelling, talking, entertainment, and music, you know. And, you know, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a mathematician, I'm a musician and I'm a storyteller who's becoming a sound artist. But I feel that, now Rhinebeck is great because it is a transition town already in so many ways. The air is clean. People really are friendly here. I've lived in this city where people don't talk to each other, New York City. It's a great town, but I've lived in Westchester County where it's pretty fast too. There's a nice slowness to here from a blow-in like myself that I can appreciate. But I've decided on a New Year's resolution for me, just to get back to local resiliency, that I'm going to begin a 365, well, I'd just be really healthy to make it that, 365-day countdown to zero fossil fuel usage starting on January 1st, and it'll take me all year to do that, and I drive a car right now. I know they make some canola oil cars or something like that. Anyways, I think smart grids are really genius grids.
I'm going to give you 30 seconds, okay?
And I think everybody here is a genius of some kind. And I think that 12572, our zip code, is just as important as 312,780,968. That's the United States population, and 18,976,457 New York State's population, 297,999, that's Dutchess counties, and 2,657, that's the town of Rhinebeck's population. And I bet there's going to be 2,657 more new ideas between now and next week or next year. And if anybody wants to talk to me and give me a chance to sort of rant and rave a little bit, you can give me your email or phone number, and you can meet me anytime this next month. And you know, as long as I'm not visiting my boys or at work on a sound recording session, I'm there, and I hope I'm here to help in some way.
Thank you very much.
Sorry about the rambling. Thank you.
No, thank you. Any further public comments? Okay, so we have a request for executive session, so for possible litigation.
Yeah, I move
And
we go into
personnel
executive
issue,
session.
and a personnel issue regarding a specific individual.
Motion. Right.
Sorry? No.
Yeah, it's not an employment history, but
It's a HIPAA protected issue.
Motion?
Second.
all in favor, aye.